In a small, sun-drenched town on the northern coast of Jamaica, where the air smelled of salt from the nearby sea and the streets buzzed with the laughter of children, there lived a young boy named Overcame Johnson. Overcame was no ordinary boy. Though he was just 10 years old, he carried a dream that shone brighter than the midday sun over the Caribbean Sea. Every morning, he woke up before the rooster crowed, laced his worn-out sneakers, and ran barefoot across the dusty fields that stretched behind his home. Overcame loved soccer more than anything else in the world. To him, the ball was not just a piece of stitched leather, it was a companion, a teacher, and a path to a future that he could see clearly in his mind even though the world around him seemed uncertain. The field where he practiced was rough and uneven, dotted with small rocks and tufts of wild grass, but to Overcame, it was a stadium. He would dribble the ball past imaginary defenders, strike it toward invisible goalposts, and dream of roaring crowds cheering his name. His mother, a hard-working vendor at the local market, often watched him from the window, a gentle smile on her face. She knew the boy's passion ran deep, though she worried about the hardships life might throw at him. His father had left when Overcame was very young, and his family had to make do with very little. But Overcame's spirit was indomitable. Poverty was just a shadow that could not touch the light of his dreams. By the time he was 12, Overcame was playing in local youth tournaments. His talent was undeniable. He had a speed that rivaled the fastest kids in town and a keen sense for reading the game that often left his opponents bewildered. Coaches from nearby clubs started noticing him. He was selected to play for his parish team, and from there, his journey began in earnest. Every training session, he pushed himself harder than anyone else. Rain poured down, turning the field into a muddy mess, but Overcame never complained. Heat scorched his skin during midday practices, but he never stopped running. It was as if the ball and the field were extensions of his very being. As he grew older, life threw challenges at him. There were times when his shoes wore out mid-practice, times when hunger gnawed at his belly, times when injuries threatened to halt his progress. But each obstacle only strengthened his resolve. Overcame learned to work harder, train smarter, and focus intensely on every move. He watched professional games whenever he could, memorizing strategies, practicing free kicks and dribbling moves until they became second nature. Every failure, every missed goal, became a lesson rather than a defeat. At 16, Overcame faced a turning point, the opportunity to attend trials for a prestigious football academy in Kingston. It was a dream come true, but also terrifying. He arrived at the trials, a small-town boy among teenagers from across the island, each with their own talents and dreams. The competition was fierce. Some players were taller, stronger, or faster than him. But Overcame had something that couldn't be measured in height or speed, an unyielding determination and a love for the game that radiated from every movement. He dribbled, passed, and shot with a precision that made the coaches take notice. By the end of the trials, Overcame was offered a place in the academy. That moment, when the head coach placed his hand on Overcame's shoulder and said, "You've got what it takes," was the culmination of years of sweat, sacrifice, and unwavering belief. The next few years were a whirlwind. Life at the academy was rigorous. Mornings began before dawn with conditioning drills, afternoons were filled with tactical training and matches, and evenings were dedicated to studying the game and analyzing performance videos. It wasn't just about skill, it was about discipline, mental toughness, and resilience. Overcame faced moments of doubt, injuries, tough losses, and bouts of homesickness, but he pushed forward. He knew that every drop of sweat and every ache in his muscles was a stepping stone toward the dream he had nurtured since childhood. By the time he was 19, Overcame's skill had blossomed into something extraordinary. His name began circulating among national scouts, and whispers of his talent reached the ears of the Jamaican Football Federation. The day he received the call that he had been selected to join the youth national team, his heart swelled with pride. Wearing the black, green, and gold jersey for the first time, standing alongside players he had once only admired from afar, was surreal. He had made it, yet this was only the beginning. Overcame's career on the national team was marked by perseverance, brilliance, and leadership. He became known for his lightning-fast sprints, impeccable ball control, and the uncanny ability to anticipate the movements of both teammates and opponents. Matches were not just games, they were stages where he poured his heart into every kick, every pass, every goal. With his guidance, the team started winning regional tournaments, drawing attention from clubs across the Caribbean and beyond. Fans began chanting his name, and the boy who once ran barefoot on dusty fields was now celebrated in stadiums with roaring crowds. But Overcame never forgot where he came from. He returned to his hometown whenever he could, inspiring young boys and girls to chase their dreams with the same passion that had driven him. He held clinics, shared tips, and most importantly, shared the belief that no obstacle was too great when your heart and dedication were aligned. Stories of his journey, the hours spent practicing alone, the trials and failures, the victories and setbacks, became a beacon of hope for countless youngsters. As the years passed, Overcame's career flourished. He captained the national team, lifted trophies in international tournaments, and was named Player of the Year multiple times. He played in stadiums that spanned the globe, but each time he stepped onto the field, he felt the same joy he did as a boy sitting on the grass, looking up at the endless Jamaican sky, dreaming of greatness. Awards, fame, and accolades followed, yet he remained humble, remembering the dusty fields, the worn-out sneakers, and the unwavering support of his family. Ultimately, Overcame's story was not just about football. It was a story of dreams nurtured, challenges overcome, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. It was about a boy from a small Jamaican town who refused to let circumstances define him. Through dedication, resilience, and love for his craft, he transformed from a dreamer into a national hero, embodying the spirit of Jamaica itself, bold, vibrant, and unstoppable. And even now, long after he had hung up his cleats, children in his hometown still spoke of the boy who looked at the sky and decided to run after a dream. They would kick their balls across the fields, imagining themselves following in the footsteps of Overcame Johnson, the boy who showed that with heart, perseverance, and passion, nothing is impossible.